Well, hello everybody. How are you today? This is Karen Sullivan and I am live on Facebook with Life, Health, and More. And this show today is Body Basics. Every Thursday I do a show called Body Basics that talks about the things within our bodies and how we can stay as healthy and strong and wonderful as possible. As a matter of fact, building on that idea, we're doing on January 6th. It is an international event that is called Love Your Life. And it's also called, let's see, Live, oh, I don't know, here it is. Live Younger, Longer. I like that idea. Anyway, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But for those of you who are joining today we're talking about range of motion. And as you saw in the advertisement for this event today, I was talking about, help. I can't move. Well, that happens often. I saw this picture yesterday and I thought to myself, I got to share that with everybody. Look at this. This is a picture of my son. When he was 17 years old, he has a black belt in Kuk Sool Won. And these were graduation pictures that he took. He is actually off the ground about 3 feet. You can't really tell with the way the lighting is, but he jumped up and kicked at the camera, which was one of the moves that he did with that martial art, that form of martial arts. Wouldn't you love to be able to move like that? Now, of course, as we get older, we're often not able to do really simple things. Let's see. How about you have a friend that when you're with them and you say, well, would you look at that? And then they turn like this. They go. And the whole body turns, right? They don't turn to look. Oh, look. Oh, nice. No, they have to turn the whole body. I have that problem a little bit too, but we'll talk about that in a second. Also, when someone is handing you something, when they kind of do this, the hand is out and they sort of move forward and they don't move the arm out forward. Can you see what I'm doing with that? Move the arm. They do this kind of, here you go. Here it is. Here it is. So you're all tight in because the shoulders are really sore. My favorite story to share about limited range of motion was when my children were little and they were probably, they were elementary school. Jared may have been kindergarten. Brendan was maybe 2nd, 3rd grade, something like that. And I blew my back out in the worst possible way. I could get up and walk, but I couldn't bend down to get things, and I was having to just be a mom and be busy, and I couldn't move much at all. So when they, as children wouldn't listen to what I had to say, usually I would, bend down and give them a swat on the fanny and say, listen to mommy, go ahead and do this. Well, I couldn't do that. There was no way I could have bent down either if I was facing them and tried to bend directly, or forget the lateral movement because my back was so bad. So I started carrying a wooden spoon, and it was just long enough that if they weren't listening, I could go up and go swat, and I could just swat them without having to bend at all in any direction. Well, they love that. But see what happens to our lives when those injuries happen. Everything is miserable. That's the problem that we face these days. Even if you're younger, if you have some sort of an accident, a riding accident perhaps, horseback riding, and something happens, it doesn't even have to be a serious one. It can be something where, let's say, you're holding the reins, you're leading the horse into the barn to get ready to take the tack off, you're done with your ride at the end of the day, you're a little bit tired, and for some reason the animal spooks and they pull and jerk your arm out, and either in the side, your side, you could get hurt, your shoulder could be bothering, your wrist or elbow could be bothering you. There are so many ways that we can get hurt. It really isn't even funny. It's kind of stinky. Now, a lot of times we believe, well, we'll just let it get better. Well, it'll just get better in time. And it can, but I am here to talk to you about some of the ways that you can help it to improve without having to perhaps wait as long. So the first thing that you want to remember is that you, without having things treated, and you have to make the decision when you should go to the doctor and which kind of doctor you want to go to. That is a very individual decision to make as far as with our health care, but you must be proactive. You must really, give it some thought, give it some consideration, look at what the options are. And I'm talking about going to a medical doctor versus going to a chiropractor. I had a dog several years ago, and it just so happens that the man who is my chiropractor also works with dogs and horses and cats occasionally. And I one morning, one of my dogs woke up and her leg was sticking out like this, and she had something going on in her shoulder, and she was crying out and pretty miserable. Well, he had limited hours on when he could see animals, and because the rest of the time he was seeing people, and his schedule is a little more flexible at this point now, but he's still doing animals as well as people. Well, my poor dog couldn't get in until like a day later, so I ended up taking her to the vet, who said, yeah, she has a muscle strain or whatever he called it. And he gave us muscle relaxants for the dog to help relax. Well, it helped her to feel better until I could get her to the chiropractor, who was able to do the adjustment and help her. Same thing happens for us. And I know that if I go to a doctor when my back is as miserable as it was when I couldn't bend down to swat my kids on their fanny, when I went in previous years, they would just give me, what do they call them? Muscle relaxers. And they were to the point where I was so groggy, I kept falling asleep. And every time I would wake up, I would recognize that I still had the pain, but that the medication just knocked me out. It was not helping the problem. So here you go. Remember that you need to go and figure out where you're going to go to take care of things. Now, the first thing that you can do is to try and make sure that you're healthy beforehand. So we want to, I call it, you want to be AHAP, okay? You want to be as healthy as possible, okay? So that's why I really recommend that you make sure that you're doing at least a bare minimum of 20 minutes of exercise a day, whether you're going for a walk, not in this weather because it's really frigid here right now, but you want to make sure that you are doing walking exercises. Some Rebecca says she likes AHAP. Yeah. Doing some sort of an exercise, some sort of movement. If you're going to do yoga or Pilates at home, do that. Make sure you're doing stretching. You're working your abdomen to make it stronger. Those things are really imperative so that you don't go down the path of where the continuation goes from one thing to another. And I know that there have been people who have needed a hip replacement or a knee replacement, and those are the sorts of surgeries that you really want to put off as long as possible until they're absolutely necessary for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're too young and you've had that work done and had that replacement and have that metal in your body, chances are you're going to need one later in life again. They'll have to do it again because that metal, although it's titanium, does wear out. The joint does wear out. So you have to put it off as long as possible. But in that putting off, it's very painful. And also what happens is as you're walking with the injury in the knee or the injury in the hip, and you're continuing to walk as best you can while you're waiting for surgery, what can happen is the next joint up will get bad. I have a client who 2 years ago had hip replacement surgery, And it was just a godsend, and she was thrilled, and she was so much better, and her rehab went great because she was in good shape. And then about 8 months later, she started having issues with her knee. She did not need a knee replacement, but she needed to have some work done on it to have it cleaned up, because in favoring the sore hip, there were other issues that happened in the body, and your gait changes. I work with people all the time when your gait is not right because you have an injury somewhere. It doesn't have to be in the joint. It could just be a stiffness in your back. It could be, the lumbar spine out, some reason that you're not working well. I've seen it even with somebody that has plantar fasciitis, because that pain in your heel makes you sort of limp, and then it causes other kinds of problems up the kinetic chain. That nursery rhyme, there was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. Well, that will happen to you. So be as healthy as possible. Make sure you're moving. Make sure you're getting the kind of medical attention. And first and foremost, make sure that your nutritional foundation is sound. Absolutely. Starting with a good, solid, multiple vitamin. It's imperative that you get the supplementation in your body that you need, because we cannot get it in our foods. And again, I always recommend the affiliate program I'm involved with, and the company is Shaklee Corporation. I'm an independent distributor, and I can't say enough about this company. Not only the products, but the way that they handle themselves and the science that there is. And if you have any kind of an issue with the stuff that you've bought from them, they have 100% money back guarantee. You don't hear about that. That just doesn't happen these days, but it does with Shaklee. And the neat thing is, you don't have to return it, because you will feel better. You will feel better. So let me skip ahead and talk about January 6th. Everybody wants a New Year's resolution. Hooray! And we want to just, buckle down, and we're going to make things better. Whether you've eaten for the holiday or not, you really want to make some improvements in your life. Everybody does. I mean, goodness. Isn't it something to have the end of the year come, and how fortunate we are that we have made a celebration of this passing from one year into the other, because it's kind of that conscious severing. We can sever old habits and begin new ones. But what I find is people have a difficult time knowing how to do that. So January 6th here in St. Charles, Missouri, we are going to do, me and the mouse in my pocket, we are going to have a wonderful event of setting your New Year's resolution so that you can love your life. You can be happy and satisfied and get toward the goals that you have set for yourself. Now, this is not only a process of sitting and talking about our goals, but I have worksheets. I have things that we're going to do to help us to chart your course. Okay. And it's really fun. This is part of my coaching technique that I do with people, and I'm doing it now in group settings. We're going to do health assessments and get the answers from the health print that there is on my website, lifehealthmore.myshaklee.com. And we're going to do group discussions. We're going to do group stretching. And I know it sounds like a lot in 2 hours, but really we're going to learn an awful lot and get ahead of it. Now, here's the really exciting part. I have gotten some private messages from people who are interested who don't live in Missouri. And I think we are going to do a couple of sessions where we're going to use Zoom. And if I can figure out how to do it, it would be a live Zoom broadcast where we're doing the same program with a group of people in someone's home on the other side of the country. And that can happen for you if you're interested in doing this New Year's resolution. So Love Your Life 2018, I can set it up. I need to know soon so that we can do the preliminaries, get things set up, and I can get the paperwork to you and emailing it. And it's just such a great opportunity because it's not about just, oh, well, this is my goal. And then what are the steps? What are the steps between where you are now and the goal that you want? Well, not everybody can figure that out. And so in a group setting, it's really neat because you can start to talk about what you think your plan will be, and it will spark off in somebody else's mind something that they think they can do. So as a group and as a community, Life, Health, and More is a community of people who want to get healthy, who want to feel better, who want to not only look better, but be better and have these bodies that are less stiff. So in the meantime, make sure that you're getting some attention for your body, whether it's from a medical doctor or a chiropractor. The other things that I think help with this is have a hot cup of tea, because it'll help to soothe you. Now, it's not going to make your shoulder better, but I tell you what it will do. It'll help to relax you, so you'll stop doing this because you're cold or the shoulder hurts. And this, where you're holding it up like that, is just making things worse. That cannot be comfortable. So having some tea, making sure that you have clothes on enough. Don't be cold at all. When you go outside, wear your scarves, wear your hats, wear your jackets, zip them up, wear your gloves, because if your body is cold, you will begin to shiver, and then everything will just get worse. Really. So I like to, I have a collar, which of course I forgot to pick up, but I have this collar that it comes up on the neck. I think I wore it here once. Comes up on the neck here, and then it goes down and goes to down my traps and across my shoulders here, and then it covers the neck. And it's really great because I pop it in the microwave. I do like 30-second cycle, a couple, 2, maybe 3 times. Then I turn it inside out and I do it more. It's just cloth, and I'm not sure what it's stuffed with, probably herbs, because I can smell the lavender is the one that I smell the most. And when it comes out, it's warm. It's not hot because it will burn you. And I put that on my neck to help it to relax, because all my work on the computer, when I go to a class and I'm telling people let's do these side deltoid raises, it does nothing further than it bothers my shoulder. Now look, and I'm looking at my arms. Yeah, look at that. See, my left arm, this is where my injury is. And so I can't lift it as high, which you can well see. Look at that. There it goes. This one can go up and it doesn't hurt. This one is not happy, so I stop there. Yeah, I know it's a toughie. It is a toughie. So if you have any questions, what is our goal? What is our goal? Well, the goal on Life, Health, and More is that we can be the best version of ourselves. If you are not able to do the Love Your Life event on January 6th, please go to my website, lifehealthmore.net, and join the community. It helps you not only get off the diet roller coaster, but learn everything you can about how you can be the best version of yourself, get the solutions that you need, not be a tin man, and feel better about yourself. And you know what, y'all? I think 2018 is going to be delightful. Join our community on Facebook. Join at lifehealthmore.net, because I've got great things in store between my knowledge of fitness and the Shaklee products that I represent. I think we're going to do some great things. Take care.